Hey guys, Christopher Moonlight here, and I feel a bit bad because today I was going back over my last Alien 3 review, and I was harsh, and I don't regret it in terms of what I said, but I will say that I was sometimes I forget to pull my punches when I'm doing criticism. And it really isn't out of any kind of meanness or spite. And I'm just going to say this in pretty much every Alien 3 review video I do because I know people are very sensitive about Alien 3. Yes, I don't like Alien 3. No, I don't think it's because people did a bad job. I think, this is something I want to be very clear. I don't think you're a bad person for liking it. I don't think you're wrong for liking it because there is a lot to like about it. Everybody involved did a great job, except maybe, in terms of the actual story, how the story goes, which is really what I've been criticizing the entire time is how the story doesn't work. And I will continue to in other videos. But, I do try and... Is sugarcoat the right word? I don't want to be attacking people. These aren't attacks on the movie. This is me breaking down why I think one of the greatest franchises ever created in science fiction fell flat in the third installment, and it's a deconstruction of why I think that is. And but today I thought, okay, let's do this. Let's talk about the number one thing about Alien 3 that blew my mind when I first saw it as a teenager, and I am continually excited about to this day. And it is something actually that most fans of Alien 3, people that go, I love Alien 3, but this kind of sucked. I don't think it did. So this is today the in defense of Alien 3. Alien 3's Rod Puppet. And so you see I've got this up on the screen, and I'm going to give you other examples of Rod Puppet. So let's have a look at this. So hopefully you can see what's going on here. So what happened with this Rod Puppet is I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. The idea that you could do things in miniature and then make them look like their actual size had never occurred to me up to this point. It's a very very common thing, and it had been, but it just never occurred to me that what I had been looking at in a lot of movies I love were miniatures. I just thought those were real size sets, or I don't know what I was thinking. But look at the way this thing moves. I should enlarge this. Let's see. This thing has so much life to it, and these puppeteers did an amazing job. I believe the original puppet had been built by Studio ADI and handed over to the visual effects team which was at the time, and this is right before Jurassic Park came out, or maybe it was right after Jurassic Park came out. I can't remember. But Jurassic Park came out, and then it took other movies a bit of time to catch up to the idea that you could do things digitally. And they tried to do things, some people tried to jump on the trend right away. We had The Lawnmower Man, which was really only a Stephen King story in name. Had nothing to do with the original Lawnmower Man short story from Night Shift. Great collection of short stories, by the way. Stephen King was in top form there. But people kind of assumed that this Rod Puppet was some crappy CGI. And I had a lot of trouble finding examples of what people thought of footage on YouTube. So just going to kind of let it go, and who knows, this might get me a copyright strike. But do I have any more? Let's see. I have other examples of Rod Puppets, and we're going to talk about those because to this day, I still think that Rod Puppets are the viable thing to go to next if you want a creature in your movie that is impossible to do as a person in a suit, or a full-scale animatronic. I would go to rod puppets before I go to CGI. Now, this rod puppet kind of killed that case for a lot of people because of the way that it looked in the final version of Alien 3. Sometimes it looked great. Sometimes it looked, just really kind of slapped in there. But you have to understand something. This was not digitally composited. They they were pretty much on the cutting edge. They had pushed optical printing, optical effects, as far as they could go to get this. So this was really kind of cutting edge in the world of optics. And like I said, some shots worked out, some shots not so much. I really think that rod puppets with today's digital compositing technology could be better than anything else. And I'm going to show you some examples. And I'll leave some links to these. Not that one, because I don't know what the copyright thing is, but I'm going to leave some links to the Stan Winston School of Character Arts and Studio ADI's page, the examples of some of their puppets. This thing here, this was for Jurassic Park 3. They went CGI, but that blows my mind. Look at how fantastic that looks. Those puppeteers are moving that. That thing is crazy good. And, they went with, they had a full-size animatronic. Here's another one, Teddy. I just assumed Teddy, when I saw AI, was a really great CGI piece. And this was kind of what started to wake me up to how great practical effects were, was that every time I saw something and went, oh, cool, they got something right with CGI, it turned out it was a practical effect. And with Teddy, just like I was suggesting with Alien 3, instead of optical printing, they used digital compositing to do, wire removal. And there's the late, great Stan Winston. I will definitely leave a link to this video. But look at how great that looks. Also, another one, the Small Soldiers. I assumed it was another CGI movie. No, it was puppets. But like I said, you get the right puppeteer. Look at how great these things look. And I've interviewed puppeteers before. I talked to Shannon Shea. He talked about his work on Team America. And what was the other thing? Gigetto. I interviewed Gigetto, who's probably, in my opinion, one of America's greatest living puppeteers. Anyway, yeah, I'll leave a link to this. It's just gorgeous work. And let's see what else. Oh, here's another one. What do they call it? Compy. I don't know if this ended up being done in CGI. I've kind of blocked Lost World out of my head. I don't remember anything about it, except that, there were some moments where I just really cringed. And but anyway, this work is amazing, and they really do, capture the lifelike nature. You just remove those rods, and anyway. So going back to, let's go out of this one. All right, here is also, if you want to learn about puppeteering, Stan Winston School of Character Arts has a How to Make a Monster Puppet Rods and Cables review. There's the, is that the Aflac duck? I think it is the Aflac duck. So the, they show you how to sculpt it, and I actually bought this one, and I found it very interesting. I'm on such a low budget that a lot of the materials I use, I think it ended up being over $1,000 to build your rod puppet. And there were some things that, I hope they do another video to kind of expand on and elaborate on, because this is really a nuanced art. You can't just cover it in one lesson. But there's some really great stuff to get you started. You can see they're making the joins and the spinal column and some of the materials that they use. And it does get very in-depth to a certain degree. So it'll keep you busy for a while. So I do recommend, I haven't watched all the Stan Winston School of Character Arts tutorials, but there are definitely some that I am going to check out. But anyway, so rod puppets still very viable. Let's see. Is this... Oh, this is the one I was playing before, wasn't it? Yeah. So, anyway. Here's another one that I want to talk about. This isn't from Alien 3. This is from Aliens versus Predator. Whichever the first Alien versus Predator was. They had a queen puppet. And there is a scene in the egg chamber where the queen is frozen. And the predators kind of revive her. I guess she's cryogenically frozen. They revive her, and she instantly starts laying eggs to breed the aliens for them to hunt. And it looks fantastic. And I was like, wow, they built a full-size queen for that scene. And not for that scene, it was a miniature. They did build a full-size queen, I think at least from the waist up. And then they did a CGI queen for the final battle, which actually didn't look too bad. It still looked like CGI, but, it was able to move in ways that they weren't able to do before. But the egg scene did not occur to me at all that was miniature. Anyway, so what do we do here? Where do I go from here? I can't say enough nice things about this, and I was super thrilled, and this is really what kind of got me into wanting to make miniatures and puppets. As a matter of fact, when I got out of Alien 3, I went and I built a miniature puppet of a xenomorph using Sculpey, using a rubber skeleton, like a Halloween skeleton. I think a body of a fake bat, and I think I took the different pieces, hot glue and all that sort of thing, and trying to make it as H.R. Giger as possible. The macaroni tail it probably could have been in better quality, but I wanted to make a rod puppet, and I started building miniature hives in my garage using bits of drywall and hot glue and all sorts of things. And I didn't do a bad job. Some of the stuff looked pretty cool. So anyway, I think that the Alien rod puppet, or any rod puppet, should definitely be considered before CGI. I think, again, the compositing technology, the rod removal technology, it adds a life and a movement to it that, to me, CGI... I mean, I think the motion capture stuff these days kind of gets it right, but a lot of it still, it's very hard to get movement right in CGI to a point where the audience stops seeing it as CGI movement. There's, when you're working with real materials and working with gravity and inertia and that sort of thing, it just adds a life to the creature. And I feel like that life was definitely there. When you're watching that thing running around in those tunnels, even though the compositing is sometimes glaringly horrible, it still looks like an organic living thing. And was this a scene where they come across it like feeding on someone's dead body, and someone throws a torch at it, and the movement was perfect. It was just perfect. I loved it. Like I said, I think ADI originally made the puppet, but I think the VFX team had to alter it, extend its waist so they could get it to run correctly. But yeah, this is I could kind of just go on and on about what a beautiful thing I think that puppet was, along with a lot of the suit they created. To me, is actually one of my favorite Alien designs. I think even though they didn't go directly with H.R. Giger's designs in Alien 3, they did manage to capture that Giger-esque quality in a way that I don't think anybody else has managed to outside of H.R. Giger himself. I do really like the skeletal designs of aliens. So I'm it's a toss-up between which one is my actual favorite. I think they're both really great. And I'm, of course, speaking outside of Giger's original big chap. That thing is obviously the king. But I think those designs, perfect. My least favorite designs, sorry Ridley, but Alien Covenant, just anyway. So rod puppets, I really want to advocate for them. I really want to use them in my own films. I think other people should be thinking about using them and making plans to utilize them properly, because I understand, we've talked about this before. The appeal of CGI is that you can make a decision, you can decide that it's not correct, and then you can change it. Whereas when you do a practical effect, you have to plan it, you have to make sure it's what you want, you have to commit to it, and then once you have it, it's there, and it costs more money to shoot. I understand that, but I think it's kind of a toss-up, because practical effects are still overall less expensive, and they do overall look better. So I think it's just a matter of planning well, and I think the quality of movies overall will go up for that planning. And I think that the reason that a lot of modern movies are kind of throwaway for audiences is that they are made very quickly. Then people don't have time to put their heart and soul into them, or try some new things that'll make it a different standout movie. And as a result, a lot of the movies will end up looking the same, like they do. And I will say this. I'm going to say another nice thing about Alien 3. I think that one of the big reasons it suffered is because it was rushed. Now, again, I'm not going to get into in this series into the production problems this movie had, because that's not what general audiences see when they watch a movie. They don't have someone there telling them, well, yeah, it didn't turn out right, but we had production problems. Think, oh, okay, yeah, no, you pop in a movie and you decide if you like it or not. Whatever happened to create that movie is irrelevant to them. But I will say this. Because the movie was rushed and there was a lot of studio interference and that sort of thing, the story suffered. But because there was a lot of delays and a lot of standing around for the effects teams, they had a lot of time to just sculpt and create some amazing things. And visually, the sets look great. The effects are really fantastic. Like I said, the suit effects and the animatronic effects are still some of the best that you can find in movies. And the rod puppet, even though, like I said, the optical technology got pushed to its limits and faltered, the rod puppet was just an amazing thing. So anyway, I'm rambling on. I'm starting to do my Jeff Goldblum thing, where I just kind of keep jumping around and repeating myself. So I'll leave it at that, but tell me what you think. Are you a fan of the rod puppet? Or the other argument is, maybe they shouldn't have done so much of the alien running around and, tried to kind of leave it at what they did with the first two movies. People are always kind of saying that Alien 3 goes back to the first movie. Maybe it should have just been something that comes out of the dark and then is gone. But, they took a chance on this, and they did something really wonderful. It didn't work out exactly as they wanted it to, but I am glad they did it in this respect. So, anyway, come back next time, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I can't talk today. Notification bell. The notification bell. Hit it. If you're going to leave a comment, keep it civil. Like I said, we're not trying to bash anyone. We're just constructively criticizing something that could have been better. But next time I think I'll be back. I'm going to talk about the newt autopsy and the problem that I have with that in terms of the spirit of the film and the message it sends to fans of Aliens and James Cameron, as well as there was something else I was going to talk about. I am looking forward to my conclusion. I don't know, I may have 1, 2, 3 more videos left to do. At least 2. My conclusion is going to be how I would have done Alien 3. And I'm not talking about a complete overhaul, a completely different story. I mean, how I would have taken the situation of Ripley at the prison colony and how I would have changed it, and how I still think actually it could be fixed if somebody wanted to go in there digitally and do some stuff. I don't know, I don't have time to do it myself, but maybe if I win the lottery, I'll do a fan edit. But I got my own movies to make, really. So, it's kind of like, let's move on, let it go. We'll learn from this, and we'll create some new great movies. So thanks for listening, everyone. Be back soon, and coming very soon, my interview with Clint Carney. We're doing that tomorrow, so that should be up soon. All right, take care, everyone.